We're a quarter of the way through the NFL season, and I still have not won the Millionaire Maker. That changes this week. Here are some of those sleeper and value plays that I love the most that I'm going to try and fit into my lineup in week 5.
This is Allaqcess, your home for fantasy sports talk.
Welcome back into Allaqcess Sports, your home for fantasy sports talk, Draftkings, DFS, and everything under the sun. If you've been here before and you're coming back to check it out again, I appreciate you being here. Go ahead and give a like to the video and comment down below on the question of the day because you know that contest is coming. The idea behind this video is to find you 7 to 10 players that are under $5,500 that I think you can put into your lineup and get 4 times their value. These aren't always necessarily sleepers that no one's heard of and they're just going to pop for 20 points. Because if they're going to pop for 20 points, someone else is talking about them. Again, the goal is just to get 3 or 4 times points per $1,000. So if a player costs $5,000, we want to get potentially 20 points out of them. If you've been here before, you get the idea. Let's just move on. Quickly roll through the wins and the losses because we're 100% transparent. Breece Hall, Geno Smith, who we told you. Geno Smith quietly could be my favorite stack against the Detroit Lions. Tyler Conklin, Zach Ertz, Romeo Doubs. A lot of people were on those last two, so, can't just tout ourselves. But some misses that we have. Travis Etienne, Garrett Wilson, paired up with Zach Wilson was not very good. Rashad Bateman. Listen, I'm throwing in the towel on him for now. And then Richie James, the New York Giants. So where are we starting things off this week in week 5? It's going to be Breece Hall, $5,400 against the Miami Dolphins. Listen, he's getting solid touches so far. He's getting heavy involvement. I think he has over 130 yards over the last 2 weeks. He's out touching Michael Carter right now. I believe last week he had 6 targets through the air, which only amounted for 2 catches, which is nice to see because PPR is king in DraftKings. If he's going to be involved in the passing, I think they're going to be chasing Miami. Even with the quarterback that I have listed here, I still think they're going to be chasing Miami in points because they have absolute playmakers on the outside. Moving over to Teddy Bridgewater, who is a completely capable quarterback, especially after you give him a week of practice. Granted, it is only a week of practice, but at $5,400, listen, he has fantastic weapons that he can get involved. Gesicki, Mostert, who's also listed here, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. There's a number of weapons that all he has to do is kind of just drop the ball off. New York Giants rank 20th in DraftKings points allowed to quarterbacks. I think Teddy Bridgewater at $5,400, if we get 2 touchdowns and 200 yards out of him, I'm feeling pretty good. Speaking of the Miami Dolphins, Raheem Mostert at $5,000 against this New York Jets team. Listen, he, just like Breece Hall, has slowly turned into that running back one. A lot of people thought it was going to be Chase Edmonds, but it turns out it's Raheem Mostert getting a stranglehold and kind of Jeffrey Dahmering that offense. New York Jets are honestly the most average defensive team in the league. I think Miami puts up a lot of points this week, even with Teddy Bridgewater. Matter of fact, if you're worried that it's Teddy Bridgewater at the quarterback position, have even more faith that they're just going to hand the ball off to their running backs. Now, every once in a while, there's an injury that pops up that benefits your team and half of the nation. Khalil Shakir at $3,200 against the Pittsburgh Steelers could be that one this week. We see that Josh Allen loves to spread the ball, and now they have a couple of injuries on the offensive side of the ball that are going to impact wide receivers. Khalil Shakir should step into that number 1 slot wide receiver role, and we know he loves to utilize that weapon. At $3,200, if McKenzie and Crowder are both out, which it looks like they are, he could have a good contribution of a game. I'm not expecting him to put up a 25-point game, but if we're getting 12 to 15 points out of a guy that only costs $3,200, that can really help your lineup a lot and go grab some of those high-priced guys. George Pickens, $4,300 against the Buffalo Bills in that same game. Now, a lot of people came into the season saying George Pickens is going to be the next big thing. He is. But the quarterbacks haven't been able to successfully get him the ball on a consistent basis yet. In a game that they're going to be chasing from behind, I like him at $4,300, but I do not love him because that Bills defense is the real deal. I know it, you know it, everyone else knows it. But if there's a week where they need to throw in abundance and in addition than what they normally would because the Bills put up so many points they're going to be chasing from behind, this is going to be that game. Again, like him, don't love it, but at $4,300, it may be worth a chance if you plan on making 15, 20 to 150 lineups. Me personally, I'm making 1, 2, maybe 3 lineups, and I don't know if he's going to make the cut. Don't sleep on Michael Gallup this week at $5,000 against the LA Rams. Listen, he only had 3 targets last week, being eased back into the offense. Now it goes against the LA Rams, who are 31st in DraftKings points that were allowed to wide receivers so far this season. Think of it however you want, wherever Jalen Ramsey's going to match up, but Michael Gallup does have the opportunity to make a lot of catches this week. If you think the Rams offense is going to get it turned around against that Cowboys defense and they're going to put up a lot of points, Cowboys will be chasing. Don't let a less than stellar Cooper Rush, who is getting wins, hold you back from thinking Michael Gallup can't have a decent game. I don't love the play. I think it's something that not a lot of people are talking about and could make your lineup a little bit different. He had a touchdown last week. I look for him to have the same this week. Now, here's one you're probably not hearing anywhere else, and I kind of like that. I like that I'm trying to be different because some of y'all said last week, Bradley, you just took the 3 most popular names and put them on the board. We try and give you about 10 names, and sometimes, other people are talking about them because it is probably a good play. Jacoby Myers at $4,800 against the Detroit Lions. Listen, that Detroit Lions defense has just been terrible. Everyone's talking about it. It's a freaking circus out there watching them try and play football. Pivot over to Nelson Aguilar or Davante Parker. I have faith in Bailey Zappi, okay? He doesn't have to do a whole lot, but he's going to have to do something. And you're going up against one of the worst defenses in the league. There's a week to get your first start. This is the one. He was able to spread the ball at Western Kentucky. I think he's going to be able to do it here with the New England Patriots offense that has plenty of average weapons. If the New England Patriots are able to find a couple plays to call to keep Detroit on their toes and keep them confused, I think Bailey Zappi could have a decent-sized game, and his wide receivers will be the biggest beneficiaries. Jacoby Myers at $4,800 is an absolute steal if he's healthy, but he does look on the doubtful side of the questionable tag right now, so possibly look the way of a cheaper Nelson Aguilar or a cheaper Davante Parker. Darnell Mooney at $5,000. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, Bradley, are you sure? Bradley, Justin Fields only threw 22 times last week, and that was the most that he's thrown on the season. This is an offense that's barely getting 100 yards passing a game. The Vikings haven't been able to generate a lot of pressure. That Bears offensive line is terrible. But when given time, Justin Fields actually doesn't look that bad. If there's one game that he's going to have this year where they don't get a lot of pressure, it's probably going to be this one against the Minnesota Vikings. I expect him to have a little bit more faith in the downhill game. And with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook on the other side of the ball, I think the Vikings put up some points. Bears are going to have to take some chances. An interception by Justin Fields does not impact the ability of Darnell Mooney to have a big play later on down the line. At $5,000, it might still be a little too high, but if he does have another big play, I might want to be on the right side of it, and I don't think anyone is taking Darnell Mooney this week. A couple of tight ends, and maybe you do want to play him over a Darnell Mooney just because of target volume. Tyler Higbee, who now has 3 games with over 9 targets on the season. That is massive volume. In a game where you're probably going to have Diggs stacked up against Cooper Kupp, that should leave plenty of room over the middle for Allen Robinson and Tyler Higbee. It's crazy that you have a guy that has double-digit target capability priced at only $4,300. Now think of that if that was a wide receiver. If Justin Jefferson was priced down to like $6,000 one week, you're going to be like, yep, check that off. That's essentially what Tyler Higbee is at $4,300. There's a lot of tight ends to love in that $4,000 to $5,000 range, but Tyler Higbee might be my favorite at the moment just because he doesn't get Diggs, which, hey, Matthew Stafford might shy away from, but, I mean, it's Cooper Kupp. He's gonna throw it his way. Garrett Wilson, $5,200. This is another play that I like, don't love, probably not putting it into my lineup, but something you need to be aware of. Miami is 31st against the pass, 28th in DraftKings points allowed to the wide receivers, actually, which is kind of staggering because that defense is not bad. I feel like every week we're talking about a Miami Dolphins defense that's getting turnovers. Miami Dolphins defense that's generating sacks. Even though Zach Wilson was in there and he went kind of back to his old habits of finding Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, he did still look the way of Garrett Wilson a little bit. It's just worth noting. I don't love it as much as I did earlier in the year. Maybe someone out there wants to be a little bit different. Now, 2 other tight ends that I do like and is going to catch no one by surprise is Dallas Goddard at $4,700 against the Arizona Cardinals, who are terrible in coverage against the tight end position. They haven't played many great tight ends thus far, but the teams that have outproduced their average. Again, I'm sure the Eagles will be throwing the ball a decent amount. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert are going to be the primary recipients of that. And then T.J. Hawkinson at $4,900. Nothing more needs to be said. Nothing. That's going to do it for this video. Be on the lookout for our studs and stacks. Last week, we kind of ran into an issue. I told you Hurricane Ian kind of threw a wrench in everything that I had going on in my personal life with work, family, and everything. So we just weren't able to get one out last week. I'm going to try and get one out tomorrow morning. That's Sunday morning right before NFL kickoff. As always, that information is going to be on Patreon. Regardless if we make a video or not, we have a Patreon every single week for those that go above and beyond in support of the channel. I cannot thank you enough for doing that, man. It really does mean a lot. If you don't want to be on Patreon, that's fine. Leave a thumbs up and drop a comment down below. Don't forget, your comment can also enter you in for a chance to win a $20 Millionaire Maker ticket funded by Allaqcess. And as always, man, it doesn't change. Just give me the player and the points of the top scoring player on the Week 5 main slate. So if you think it's going to be Stefon Diggs with 32 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers, comment down below, Stefon Diggs 32. If he's the leading scorer and he gets 32.6 points, you will be deemed the winner. One correct guess from all correct guesses will get that $20 prize. So put it down in the comments below, and good luck, guys. Not only in this contest, but in your DraftKings contest. I want to see more cashes. I want to see more greens. Let me know down in the comments how we possibly helped or hurt you, because I want to only help. I appreciate you watching the video. Good luck, and hopefully the next time that I see your name is in the green.